to the Humble Threads podcast. I am David Graves.
And I'm Michael Hart. Welcome to episode 14, everybody. We are so happy that you are here. And if you enjoy the podcast, be sure to leave a rating on your podcast platform of choice. It really helps us reach new audiences and people just like yourself. All right, Dave, let's get humble.
All right. Man, Mike, well, I'm going to start out and ask you, Mike, because I feel like I go first a lot. But Mike, what's been going on with you, man? What's been going on in the world of Mike?
Just living it, man. Nothing too crazy has been going on over here. Really enjoying this past weekend. We got together with a couple friends at a Victory Brewing, humble plug for a place that we all love to go to.
If you want a sponsor, though. If you want a sponsor.
Yeah, hey, if we want to catch a beer sponsor, I'm about it. Victory, hit us up. But either way, it's been cool. It's that time of year again. I had to go get my car inspected. Super funny, actually. So when I went to go get my car looked at, we take it to my wife's dad's shop, who works pretty local to us, and he asked me, he's like, how many miles have you? What's the mileage at right now? And I was like, I think it's like 42,000. And he goes, Mike, this car hasn't left your driveway, dude. You haven't even done 5,000 miles in the last year since I last inspected it. And it made me kind of really sunk in at that point. I mean, obviously he was able to still do the test and everything was fine. But it really had sunk in at that moment, like how little over the last year, I've gone anywhere.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of us, any of you, any listener out there who lived on this planet in the year of 2020, can relate, because it just didn't hit me until the fact, because I mean, I guess typically the average mileage of someone who drives to work or back or where have you is about 10,000, sometimes as high as 15,000, and to see that I think I barely did 4,000, and by the time the inspection was due, it just really made me think, how much time that we've really all have spent inside over the last year. And what's funny about that is that was the day after I watched Bo Burnham's Inside comedy special on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, the dude's a lyrical comedic genius, in my opinion. Although he has had some, I think he's had a little bit of some questionable things that have come up because of his comedy. But I think his special recently is on point. If you haven't seen it, go see it. It's funny, especially if you're in that 30-ish range. It really hits home for that age group. But yeah, I mean, other than that, just been really enjoying cracking some beers on the back deck with the grill on. The weather's been super nice, other than the fact that earlier last week we had 3 days of torrential downpour. So trying to soak up the sun when I see it. Casual lawn stuff, taking care of some things around the house, but that's about it for me over here. So what's been going on in the world of Graves?
Man, well, guys, I got some good news finally. I told Mike, and Mike's been helping me out a lot. He definitely helped me out today, and my brother. But I got a job interview. It's going to be Wednesday, so by the time you hear this, it'll already be passed. So you're still welcome to wish me luck, because they still have to decide on if they want me. But I'm really putting some time into that. I've been really focusing on that, making sure I'm in tip-top shape to let my personality show through. So definitely being on the podcast has helped me. I will say that. But other than that, like Mike said, we went to Victory, but our friend Billy's bright idea was, hey, let's go to PJ's on Friday when the Sixers are playing and it's rainy outside. So we get there and we asked the lady, oh yeah, how long is the wait? And she was like, an hour to 45 to 50 minutes. I was like, nah, I'm good. So we went to Victory. Mike came through. We got some drinks. That was really fun. Fortunately, the Sixers won, but it definitely was interesting walking in without a mask. I've been walking into a lot of places without the mask because vaccinated. But it's so weird getting back to normal, and then also having your friends hanging out with you and being able to sit close to you now. If they're vaccinated and everything else like that. We had a deep talk about life and a lot of the directions that people are going. I feel like as of now, coming back into the real world, a lot of people have real world decisions to make now. Your life isn't on pause anymore. Your life is on play. So it's like, whether it's relationship wise, job wise, life wise, and just getting your mental health together, it's important for you to sit down and make sure you have a conversation about that. Fortunately, with our friend group, we're pretty vocal about how we're feeling and our emotions and everything else like that. So it was just a great mixture of just beer and conversations, and it was very, very interesting. And also, we had one of our friends' moms do a palm reading on me and our friend Jamie, which is Mike's sister-in-law. But that was pretty fun. That was pretty interesting. I'm into the spooky stuff and whatnot, so that was very fun. If you haven't done it and you're okay with it, I'd suggest go doing it. I wish Mike was there so she could have did him, but
I mean, yeah. I mean, I like I've always I don't know. Like I've always. It's not that I don't believe in the stuff, but like I've always been so interested that kind of practice is still like still
yeah,
around and is still and actually is wildly accepted these days. I mean, like anything from like even if you move over into like the Reiki science, which is all about like energy healing, auras and things like that. So that's super cool. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't there for it, but
yeah, it
I,
was.
I did hear that part out because that was after Victory. That you guys
Yeah,
went over and did that.
it was weird because she read my poem immediately. We went to kids or whatever. She said I would have three in total, but she asked about the one. Like David's one child, like his first child, what gender would it be? And apparently, it's supposed to circle in a certain way where it says yes or no, but it's shook in a way where that's never happened to her before. And I was like, holy, my son's gonna be the chosen one and or daughter. But she said she was drinking, but she said sometimes doesn't answer her correctly when she's drinking and stuff. But it's just kind of fun to experience and see what's going on with that. But other than that, guys, like I said, when working my butt off, I really want this job. It would definitely do wonders for me, and I think it would do wonders for the podcast and all the business endeavors that me and Mike have going on from now into the future. So I think it would be pretty fun. Also, like Mike, taking care of the lawn. That's getting annoying because my dog is now starting to dig in our lawn. So there's just holes behind the trash cans where you don't need a hole at because you're trying to take the trash out, and it's just hitting the pothole, and it's just been ridiculous. But that, enjoying the weather, and just getting life back together. It's exciting that it's warm out. We're not in the apocalyptic COVID world anymore.
Seemingly, yeah.
We're kind of getting back to real life, but that's what's been going on with me and Mike, man. That's our life update.
And the only other thing I wanted to touch on, but only because it's been like literally like going nuts this week. I feel like we can't not talk about it, and that is what is going on in the stock market. With AMC, specifically this meme stock. The Wall Street Bets subreddit group. They call themselves apes. Diamond hands holders. I have like the smallest skin in the game, but I feel like it's just so exciting because like there are like not like to be totally serious, there's a lot of money at play, and there are people, there are hedge funds, there are establishments, corporations, companies that are either losing or gaining tons of money because of what's happening in this market. There's been so many things going on, whether it's the people talking about like illegal naked shorts or whatever, which is a trading subject that I don't even feel like explaining. It's just there's some crazy stuff going on. It's very volatile, and it's just so interesting to watch. Like for anyone who's turned the news on in the last couple of months, who heard about what happened to GameStop and how GameStop suddenly skyrocketed through the roof to become so ridiculously valued that people really did make a ton of money. There was, like I said, lots of money lost on the hedge fund side, but the average retailer really made out like a bandit if they were essentially in the game early. And it just stuff like this doesn't happen, or at least it shouldn't typically happen. And it's so crazy to see this kind of market action happening around the same time. The government has been talking about like inflation and what that could do to any of this, whether in the crypto space or not. But yeah, I think it's crazy to be watching AMC. Like today alone, I think it shot up 12% in the first hour, and then just receded to like correct itself all day back down to where it began. Just an absolute just roller coaster. So if anyone's out there in the game, anyone's still holding their AMC, hats off to you. I'm still holding for as little as I have in there. I just want a piece of a piece of that pie, just to say I was a part of it, I guess. But pretty wild, pretty wild stuff.
Yeah, well, I've been paying attention to it a little bit. That's also another reason where it's like, if I get this job, definitely want to get a lot more into stocks. And guys, if you haven't, please start getting into certain things where you can start advancing your money, also saving your money, and also making your money work for you. That being said, guys, we'll be right back after these messages. And break. All right.
Perfect. That was a good little chunk of time.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
So yeah, I can bring us back, or no, you can bring us back in.
Okay.
And then I guess introduce Loki.
I'm just gonna I'll be like, Mike, have you seen it? And then we'll get into it like that.
Perfect.
So I don't ramble. I can just answer questions and
because I always like how we talk about like comic book stuff, because like it's definitely like this like Pinky in the Brain type of personality, because like a lot, and I just like experience it as it is. So like it's always interesting to talk that stuff. So
alrighty, I shall bring us back in. Let me get back to the top of this thing for E3 just in case. There we go. Okay. All right. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that ad break, but now we're about to get into the meat and potatoes of the podcast. If you know us, and if you know me, we're about to dive into some nerd stuff. Fortunately, we've got another Marvel show on Disney Plus. It's been a while. Last one was Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and we had a little bit of a break. They gave us a little bit of a breather, and they came right back at us with Loki. I will be honest, guys. Disney could sell you your couch if it was in your house, because I honestly didn't care about a lot of these shows. Like, I didn't really care about Wanda. Loved that show. I was like, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, who gonna watch? Loved that show. We got the first episode of Loki. Whew. Mike, let me hear it. You told me you watched it, so what do you think about it?
Yeah. So again, like if for anyone who's new to the podcast by any means, or doesn't know me personally, but when it comes to the Marvel comic books, I love comic books. I love classic Marvel stuff, but like I am not like a well-versed individual when it comes to like super like areas of the lore, like what's specifically canon, or like what are all the backstories are.
You're learning.
I know.
Knowledge in you.
I know, and I actually have not seen all of like the Thor saga that they did, like the spin-off before like the Avengers were like Thor Ragnarok and all that stuff. Yeah. There's a few of those that I haven't seen. But like I still know the main gist. Like I've seen all of Avengers, Endgame, all that stuff. So I know a good amount of what's going on. Like I knew by the way, some spoilers. It's hard to so the show's hopefully by the time this comes out, you maybe have seen the show, or if not, it's just the first episode, and we haven't even seen the second episode yet. Yeah. It comes out this week, so hopefully we talk about it in a way that invites you to want to join us along, and then we'll touch back on it throughout the rest of the season. But anyway, so like I knew that like that one scene in Avengers where Loki escapes and grabs the Tesseract and gets away, right when the Avengers had gone back in time to try to right their wrongs. And so like that made sense because they kind of recap that for you at the beginning of the first this first episode.
Yep. And
so like it kind of like locked me, and I was like, okay, yes. And I obviously remember Loki is Thor's brother, and I know there's turmoil there. Like there was questioning whether or not Loki was actually like blood to Thor or whatever. Like there's like a background of where he came from, maybe, or whatever. He wanted to kind of usurp Thor, be the ruler of all things or whatever. And And so like it was interesting to me to see how this kind of started, and how he ended up in this almost like, I don't know. I don't know if you've ever seen Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, but like there's that, like if you have like the movie rendition of it, there's a scene where he's going to this like bureaucratic office where he has to fill out paperwork to just to get like somewhere. And that scene that they first did, like almost like the first scene they bring you to, where he's like walking through the like the ticket line,
Yeah.
and that stuff. And it was like, it was kind of like, it was interesting to see like what they were even doing, because like I only know of Loki as he has been in either some of the Thor movies I've seen, or in Adventures, as like someone who's just like, you know, kills people, does crazy things. He's the god of what, mischief, right? And so it was like, how are they going to take somebody that essentially is like someone you love to hate, and make this person lovable, I guess. And I thought it was really interesting how they chose to do that. But I think beyond anything of like the main story of the first episode, like we basically learn early in the episode that there's these like timekeepers that are designed that exist to dictate the prime timeline or whatever. And they go back in time to kind of like, they're like time cops essentially, right?
Yep.
You know, and I love that Owen Wilson's in the show. I think Owen Wilson alone makes it for me. Like, I'm a huge Owen Wilson fan. I think he's hilarious.
Funny. His dry humor is very entertaining to me.
Right. Like his candor is so great. His delivery. But so like as soon as I saw him, I was kind of already bought in. So it was like I wasn't necessarily too concerned whether or not like Loki was being Loki in the sense of like how he has been in the movies. And like obviously you find out at the end of the episode why they're treating him kind of differently. Like they're not necessarily treating him like a war criminal. Yeah. It becomes something more. But it's so interesting to think back through all of the Avengers or Marvel movies that I have seen, which is a pretty good, fair amount of them. And realizing that at no point during at least what we saw in the movies, I'm not talking about canon comic books, but I'm saying in the movies, they never showed any specific time corrections, other than when like Doctor Strange at the end in an Endgame, where he's like, I've seen like 3 million different outcome possibilities. Probabilities, and there's only one where we all survive or something. And I was like, okay, so this dude, so thinking back, like this dude was able to like not necessarily manipulate time, but delineate like probabilities of what could be, essentially, by seeing different outcomes.
Yep.
And then the only other time that I can think of directly relating to time is like in exactly at the beginning of this episode, where the Avengers go back in time to stop Loki and do all of that, because there really isn't like there's no other evidence for someone like myself who isn't like super into the canon to like discern have they ever made a mistake. Because what was interesting, like in the beginning, like kind of like the first half of the episode, when I guess Loki's like on trial, right? And it's for what he did for disrupting the timeline or whatever. And he says, well, go after the Avengers. They're the one that went back in time to stop me from taking over the world. And then the person says, well, that was supposed to happen. And like, so like, which makes me think one of two things. It's like, how do the Avengers seemingly always make the right decision if it's all meant to happen the way these time lords, I think Loki calls them like space lizards, dictate everything. And it kind of makes you wonder, could something so catastrophic ever actually happen in the cinematic universe that couldn't just easily be resolved by one of these time cops?
Well,
I don't know. That's kind of like I'm kind of making I'm creating like a conspiracy like time loop issue.
See,
And I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think?
this is why it's great, Mike, because you are the average watcher, and I'm the guy in here like, bang, here's the encyclopedia, baby, I got you. So to answer a lot of your questions as far as the TV show, the TV show is great because every TV show they make is great because they make you care about the movies you didn't care about. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. A lot of the Thor movies were terrible. The first two were pretty bad, and then Ragnarok kind of got a little. Or it was good because Taika Waititi was in there, but the humor was definitely Guardians of the Galaxy esque. But I would say they did it in a very good way. But like Mike said, I'm not going to spoil the show, but the movies do tie into a lot of the stuff. So if you guys haven't seen the movies, sorry. If you haven't seen Endgame, come on now. It's on Disney Plus. But throughout the movies, you see Loki's progression. In the first movie with Thor, he's the child of the leader of the Frost Giants, I believe, or the king, if I'm using the terminology correctly. Odin takes him and he makes him his son. So he's like Thor's half brother is what they call him. So he's always felt like an outsider and he felt like he didn't belong. But of course you have Thor the jock, and if you haven't seen the first movie, Thor was pretty much a jerk. He didn't take anything seriously. He was all about drinking, fighting, and starting fights. So you can see where Loki has animosity towards him. We're like, oh, you're not fit to rule. Like, why is father even looking at you to rule if you're just going to go around and start fighting people for no reason? And then that's when you get the story of Thor progressing as a person and Loki progressing as a person because they kind of said it in the show, not to spoil anything, but throughout the movies, you see him progress to be the brothers that they should have been in the beginning. Through the loss of their father, through Loki evidently pretty much dying in the last Avengers movie, if you haven't seen it, but it happens. It happens in like the first 5 minutes, which is crazy. So in the show, they kind of rapidly speed that up. So it smacks you all in the face at once in the show. Like, you guys might have missed this, but Loki's actually a kind-hearted guy who was pushed into this position because of the situations he was in. But at the end of the day, he's actually a person who's very loving, caring, and you can tell by the way he interacts with his mother, because his mother kind of looks at him like, you're not that guy. Like, I know what type of son you are. This isn't who you are. So I really liked how sentimental and heartfelt it was in the first episode, because I was like, darn, like, he really, like, this is kind of crazy. Like, he was kind of thrust in the situation to be a bad guy, which is kind of sad, but he eventually found his path. But to address the time thing, because I know that was what you were talking about, it's like, and I gave like the reference to Mike, there was a character in Star Wars where it's like the gray Jedis, they're in the middle. They're not with the Sith, they're not with the light side or Jedis, they're just like in the middle. So whatever happens, and it's supposed to happen. Just like, if the world was going to blow up, they're going to see that happen and be like, all right, it's going to blow up. Certain circumstances they step in because if it alters the timeline too much, like, let's say, Loki goes back in time and enslaves the human race from caveman, they're going to be like, what the heck are you doing? This is not supposed to happen. That's where they kind of step in. But, I don't deem, like, in the comic book ways, they don't deem the Avengers of always doing right. They're going to mess up, just like we messed up in the first Avengers, because Thanos pretty much wiped out half the universe anyway. If they would have failed, they would have failed, and that's what it would have been, I believe, with the Time Bureau, and that's how they would have seen it. But human life would have thrived and came off of that. So they're kind of in the middle. They're not like ultra good guys, they're not ultra bad guys. I will say Owen Wilson's character, like you said, I feel like as though he's more of a voice of reason when it comes to those situations, because he's kind of like, you know what, like, I'm pulling in Loki, I need him for whatever the situation's gonna be, and we're gonna do it. As far as like the timekeepers were kind of like, I mean, someone's running amok, but we don't care. So maybe eventually they will start to deem certain things where they have to step in and save certain people. But overall, I thought the show was amazing. And to even come into the Doctor Strange thing, which they haven't explained it yet, but it's kind of rewarding when you read the comics, because Doctor Strange's powers aren't his. He takes his powers from different beings in the magical realm. So like Mephisto, like all these other people, and he borrows it. And those magical beings could easily be like, no, I'm not giving you any powers. So he could be the weakest person in the Marvel team, or he can be the strongest person, depending on how much power he siphons in from these other beings. And I think that's what they're getting into with the multiverse of madness and everything else like that. But he can flip flop, but there's a lot of flip flopping in Marvel, and that's what always makes it fun because they have a lot of storylines to pull it from. But overall, guys, that episode very heartfelt. I cannot wait for tomorrow. I can't watch it, or I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah.
It makes me sad because it's like, dang, we only have like 6 episodes, so like, oh fuck. So I don't think there is any. Maybe Miss Marvel's after this, but I don't know. But
Maybe.
If you guys have a chance, I would say, if you could, watch the Thor movies. Or watch Loki first. Either one. Watch Loki first, then watch the Thor movies, because then you'll see his progression as a character as it goes through the things that he goes through, emotionally, physically, and how him and Thor get along eventually. But great show. Great show. Glad you watched it, Mike.
Yeah, no, I mean, like after kind of being like stuck outside the combo a little bit about when we first started watching Falcon Winter Soldier, I was like, no, this time I'm in. Like, I have Disney Plus, I gotta watch it. Like, I know it's gonna be something we're gonna talk about. I gotta be able to play ball.
Most definitely.
But other than that, gang, something also really huge for us, was gone down this week, and that is the E3 convention about
baby.
up and coming video games for the next year, maybe next 2 years for some of these games. And one of the things I kind of came away from is that there's a lot of like favorites, like franchises kind of being either remastered or being brought back in a new way. And I definitely think that this year they did a lot of fan service to some degree, because I mean, I feel like, especially after like last year's, like the biggest game, for example, like for Nintendo was easily Animal Crossing, or anything or something like that, because like that game hit so hard in a time where everyone was staying indoors, and it provided people like a sense of community. I was really surprised that we didn't see anything actually from Animal Crossing. I'm not even like an avid player. I just know that it was such like a big thing. Yeah, I mean, like I played. The last time I played any Animal Crossing game was back when it came out on the GameCube.
Yeah.
But it was really awesome to see Halo be in the conversation again. It was super cool to see even like Metroid being talked about in terms of a new game, and then obviously if you watch the final, the biggest thing that I saw honestly all week is the fact that they showed us another trailer for Breath of the Wild 2, the new Zelda game, and that's going to be, I think they teased it 2022.
Probably holiday,
but hey man, 2022. Talk to me, like what did you see? I know you watched almost all of it. There was some of the earlier days I missed, but like what's your initial gut response with all of this?
I mean, and guys, if you didn't know, like we have a big group chat full of like probably 8 people talking about a lot of this stuff, and we're going on back and forth while we're watching it. But I think like Mike said it best, there was a lot of fan service, and that's definitely what it was. For me, if we can go down the line, I would definitely say we got the first couple, in-game trailer-ish things of Battlefield, which I'm very excited for Battlefield. If you guys have played Call of Duty, you can understand how tiring it's getting, and how much they just keep throwing stuff out there, and then a month or two later they clean it up. So I'm like, come on, like let's clean it up before we put it out. A lot of people are getting fatigued from Warzone. I really think this will be something new and different. It's futuristic, so it still fits in the realm of Call of Duty pretty much, but it's a different take, and it's a different, feeling. I don't know if they'll have a battle royale, but I'm very excited about that. Mike, I don't know if you'll be buying it. I don't know. Who knows? We'll see. But to touch back on what you said, Halo, man, I am a big Halo fan. I remember like high school. This might be surprising to you people, okay? The ladies weren't always on me, all right? But high school, middle school, mostly middle school, we played Halo on the weekends nonstop, like custom games, Duck Hunt, everything. We played it all. So I used to love going up to my cousin's house. We'd play 2-player online, play every single game. I wouldn't go home till like maybe 12. Begging my mom to sleep over. If I was able to sleep over, I'd sleep over and we'd play all night with our friends from school. So seeing them bring that back and also making it free to play is a big deal to get people invested back into the Halo franchise. I think it was a power move. Um, to me, what that tells me though, if they ever do it, what that tells me is maybe they'll make a battle royale of Halo. Maybe that will have to be purchased, but we'll see. I don't know. But yeah, and Mike, also stop me and chime in if you're excited about anything I'm talking about.
Well, just you talking about like your high school experience with Halo. I for me it was very much the same. Back in the day, there were those like private lobbies, and what was super cool is that like I remember there being like a clan that you could join, right?
Yeah.
You could always join clans on Halo, and I remember there was like a clan that you could join, like of kids at my school in my grade. And what was so interesting about it was that like it was pretty much anyone who was willing to jump on and play was allowed into the clan from the school. And it was always interesting circumstances where there would be people in the clan or in the group party if we were doing like big team battle or whatever, capture the flag.
Oh man.
And you'd end up playing with some people from your school or in your grade that maybe at school like you weren't like super close with or just weren't casual friends with, but because of this game, you would be able to have that kind of social interaction that maybe you probably wouldn't have had if because they weren't the people that you'd sit with at lunch, or they weren't your everyday friend. They were more just an acquaintance or someone that you knew. And so it was always so interesting to see the lobbies growing and seeing the kind of culture that was growing in these tiny clan community that I remember being a part of. And because like it was a space where like maybe at school like you can't talk smack or you can't say things to some people because it might might take it seriously or might actually hurt people's feelings, or you just come off as an asshole. But like when you were playing a game together collectively over something else, it provided an opportunity to talk a little bit of smack, but like in good sense, like in good favor, just healthy competition. But in the same way, it gave people voices when typically maybe they wouldn't have spoke. Yeah, they maybe wouldn't have interacted like at school, but like because like cause in the same sequencing of match made lobbies, you could have a really good game and everyone's like, oh snap, respect, like good, like high kill streak, Kilimanjaro and all that stuff that would come across.
I'm getting chills just thinking about it because
that's,
literally
triple
like,
kill.
Our friend group was pretty much that. Like we made a lot of, like, we were friends with nerds, jocks, like if you were the emo kid, whoever you were, and you joined that, it was that in Call of Duty. But when you joined the Halo lobby, like, and we got to talk to each other, I remember my cousin would give me the headset for a bit, I'd give him the headset, and like we'd get back in school and be like, yo, that one thing you did, the flip with the warthog, and then you smacked the guy out of the air with that, like you tail whipped him. Just moments of conversations that you would have at lunch because you had the opportunity to meet them online. And I really think like we were the first generation to make friends online and then in real life. So I definitely want to take that, crown, because we did it, Mike. Okay. But also talking about another game that I love. A lot of people are like, it's dead. I don't know if it's going to... But Marvel's Avengers, they're coming back. They're swinging, okay? They're coming back swinging. They've been making a lot of in-game events. They recently released a cinematic trailer for the Wakanda Forever, or Fight for Wakanda. I think it's Fight for Wakanda, where you get to play as Black Panther. I cannot wait for that because I really want to see how he plays. He's a brawler, but on top of being a brawler, you already know he has those like adamantium like claws and everything. So I really want to see how he plays. They've come a long way, and like if you guys were thinking about hopping back into it, I would say now's the best time. 3 DLCs are out, I think, and there's also a lot of in-game events that you can play. So there's a lot more content. Only thing they have to change is like the in-game battle system. I would say a lot of the stuff still seems the same. We also got Redfall. I think I'm going to hold my hope out for that because I think it's strictly made by Bethesda for Xbox. It just looks like a cool 4-person shooter, you verse vampires and anything else like that. I'm always down for like multiplayer games where me and my friends can sit down, have fun, and like get lost into it. I don't know how I feel about this game, and I want to talk to you about it, Mike. Starfield. We haven't seen any gameplay. A lot of people are saying it's the space Skyrim. I honestly, if you look it up, like there's a trailer, but that's about it. It's like dude getting into the spaceship and it says like 11/11/2022, and he like turns it on. There's no gameplay for it. There's no nothing, but it's just been a lot of talk about what it could be and what it does. I'm not I'm not officially sold. You know, if
I mean,
if it's like No Man's Sky realistically, then I'd be
yeah.
hyped. But what do you think, Mike?
I mean, you hit it on the nail, man.
Yeah,
I think it looks like it could be a No Man's Sky, but like a No Man's Sky that I don't know. I think it has a little more direction from the get go,
mm-hmm.
because I know with No Man's Sky that there was a bit of a flop when it first dropped and the content wasn't good. I've played it since. I played it actually recently. It's on the Xbox Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
and it plays great now. It's definitely nothing
Wait, you have
nothing
it?
to write. Yeah, I have No Man's Sky on my
We're gonna have to
Xbox.
play it. We're gonna have to play it.
Yeah, I mean I've been trying it out, just seeing if I like it, and I could see that game would be fun. If you could team up with somebody. For me, playing by myself, I found it to be a little boring.
Yeah,
At least from the
yeah.
at least in the early stages of the game. Just trying to survive, build your ship up, do that kind of stuff. But if they're actually going to create because I'm looking at some pictures now,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of gives me this like Fallout meets like Destiny
Mm-hmm.
meets like No Man's Sky, it. I'm wondering like what
Yeah.
the purpose, like what are you doing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Like if you can build a city, but there's also things you gotta fight. Like that's kind of cool if they have the building aspect to it, kind of like No Man's Sky. But
right.
I just don't want to be let down because a lot of times they build up the hype around these games, and they try and do too much in it, and then it breaks the game, and then it's not good for another year anyway. So I don't know. The release date for it is November 11th, 2022. We'll see, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
the way time's flying, it's not too far away. Another game that I wanted to touch on with you two. There's going to be games that I'm going to be touching on. Me and Mike are going to be touching on that we're excited about. Also, we're going to be like about, but we're not going to touch on all the games. But the Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora announcement. Who asked for this game? But I hope it's good. That's all I gotta say. I really don't know how to feel about it.
I like yeah like you hit it again on the head. Like, who asked for this? Like, I get it, the movie was pretty cool, like it was a good movie.
When
They
did that
did
come out?
they did the weird like tail sex thing. It was kind of weird where their tails like conjoin it with each other, they give each other their essence or whatever.
Avatar came out in 2009.
Yeah, 2009. I graduated high school in 2009. So
December
like
2009.
yeah, that's I don't know. Like I would be nervous to be the production staff or like the design staff on that game, because it's like, do you really think everyone's gonna go run to the store to be a blue person with a tail and play an RPG open world as a blue person with a tail? Like, I mean, maybe there's like a niche like hardcore group of people that love Avatar, but like you'd be better off just making another like a Skyrim knockoff. Like,
Get
or something.
Skyrim done. Forget about Avatar. Put the people who are working on that on Skyrim. Like,
yeah. Like I don't need to be in an RPG as a blue person avatar.
I'm hoping all the best because I understand a lot of people work hard on these games. I'm really
no doubt. There's true talent on this game.
I have no idea. Another game in the vein of what the heck is this and why? Rainbow Six Extraction. I'm kind of upset because they said they were gonna make a game that ties in Splinter Cell, Siege, also the Division. I hope it's not this, and I hope they were teasing something that's coming out for next E3. But this game just looks broken. I don't even know.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I don't think the game is inherently going to be bad. I just think that they're showing content that it almost has to be early access content, because it doesn't, like, things just didn't look like as good as they probably could have. Yep. The movement looked really bad.
Do you want to know the release date?
Yeah, sure.
September 15th.
This year?
Yep.
They're shipping a bad game. Like, and it's like, but like, I can't blame the people, like the design people working on the game, because, you know, specifically after a year like last year where probably a lot of designers lost their jobs, A lot of companies had to downsize because of just COVID ruining things. Like I didn't expect a game like this to be out of the gate like so good. It's the first I've heard of it, which is a problem in my book. Like I'm pretty on the nose when I hear things are coming about, and it's like it's the first I heard it. And sure, it's like they're actually releasing and they're talking about it, so like that's fine. But like again, I just think it's a game that no one really asked. Like I would far rather get a brand new Splinter Cell game, like than have something that's being considered like a combination of all of these games. It's like, I mean, how much are you just fishing for money on a game that's not great and will end up on the used section of a GameStop? Like,
I hope it's listen. Like, I hope it's good because I love Tom Clancy games with a passion. I played Rainbow Six
I agree. I agree.
Splinter, all of them are good, but we'll keep you up to date, guys. September 15th. That's close to my birthday. Who knows? I've been let down on my birthday a lot by video games. Brink, I still haven't forgot about it. Your name is in my book. I'm just letting you know.
What a game!
Holy,
what a throwback!
Geez.
Oh, what a mistake!
Mike, I know you're a Dark Souls fan, so Elden Ring. I've never really played Dark Souls or anything. I've been curious to get into a lot more solo games. What do you think about that game?
Dude, yeah, I'm pretty pumped. I really like the Dark Souls whole franchise.
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been many other games that I've played that really give you that that one shot feel that like you would get when you went to like an arcade and played like an arcade game, like a action adventure arcade game where you had to actually put quarters in to keep playing. Because this game, if you don't know, in the Dark Souls franchise, you start off usually severely underpowered, and you go up against severely overpowered enemies, and you have to survive and get past them and collect their souls to then boost your level, create and make yourself stronger. It's an RPG. But what's crazy about it is the way the levels typically are broken up are by these like campfire pits. And as soon as you get to one, it saves your current progress. But as soon as you activate the fire, any enemy in your general vicinity that you previously killed is immediately brought back to life, and you have to fight your way through the crowds again just to get to the next campfire to keep the game going. But it's so
that's a good mechanic.
Like, yeah, it is damaging. Like it is so like you oh man, there's nothing worse than like getting so far, having a whole, because when you die, right, you lose all the souls you just collected. And they get dropped in the space that you died. And in some cases, if you go up against a boss or a really OP enemy and you drop it right at their feet, the only way to get it back is the bum rush, try to grab it and then try to survive. Meanwhile, already having fought through all of the hordes that you fought through to get there again. It is so punishing, but it gives you such a thrill because there's really no way to get like, you can't do, at least in the previous games, there's not really a good co-op way to play. I think in Dark Souls 3 there was a thing there was like a white chalk or something that you could like draw an X on the ground and it would summon like a player from another game.
Was this multiplayer? Not to cut you off, sorry. I don't remember.
No, it's not. Like it's not multiplayer in the sense that you want it to be. Okay. But in the sense that like you like the world exists, like everyone's game, right, interlinks. But it's not the same game. Like think of like a multiverse.
Okay.
But layered on top of each other. And what's crazy is so someone in their past game, in like Dark Souls, for example, 3, you could leave like a note on the ground, and it could say like monster ahead, ridiculous, you're going to die, and they can leave that on the ground, and then you in your game can come across the note, pick it up, and be like, oh, monster head. Leave it or you'll die. And it's like, okay. So but what's funny is there's this like trolling that happens in this game where sometimes it'll be like the best prize ever around the corner, and you walk out and you just get cleaved in half. And it's like, so there's people that troll each other, or like jump here and you jump to your death. Jesus. And it's super funny because like there is actually really good advice somehow in some places, but other times people are just being, dicks and like, leaving bad advice.
Yeah.
But so that's the only way really that the games interweave. Otherwise you're playing a solo adventure, and it's so crazy. if anyone out there has never played a Dark Souls game and you're looking for a game that's finally going to be challenging, it's got RPG, tactics. You can play any type of class you want in the RPG realm of like Dungeons and Dragons, if you will. You can be a knight, you can be a sorcerer, you can be a whatever. And the playthroughs are just crazy fun because you eventually you die like 100 times and then you learn the level, you learn where all the monsters are, and then you can create this like ebb and flow about how you're taking out each monster, and you kind of dance essentially around the monsters because you have to be so specifically timed. You have to counter, you have to parry, you have to do the attack, otherwise, because the monsters in this game are so overpowered, like one hit can sometimes kill you. And so I'm super excited to see a game that's in the same by the same developers and it has the same mechanics. And so definitely going to be excited for this one to come out.
Well, guys, watch out. Mike might stream it. Who knows?
I don't know, maybe.
To bring it to move on to the next one, Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. I'm excited about this game, but as far as games go, as we get older and as games start coming out more, I think we should lower the price of games when they're solo player games. Like, they're not multiplayer games, so you play through it once and that's it. I like this game. Looks amazing and it's coming out for Switch. I definitely want to buy it for the Switch, and we'll get into some Switch games right after this. But I think it looks like a fun game. I just hope it's not overpriced. I think they brought this game out at the right time because I think they've learned what they failed with in Avengers, and they're going to improve on it with this game. But it looks pretty fun. It's funny. It sounds really funny, so we'll see how that goes. And then there was a Final Fantasy game. I don't play that game. Mike, or no? Okay. Well, guys, if you're Final Fantasy out there, please write to us. Let us know why the game's good. Maybe we'll give it a try. I don't know. The games I'm excited about. Let's get into some Switch stuff. Mike just mentioned Zelda. I played some of the Breath of the Wild for the first one. I said when the second one comes out, I'd probably start playing the first one again. But this Wario game, the last time I saw a Wario game, man, that might have been on the
Game Boy Advance. Or the SP.
Yeah, like this one looks pretty fun. You can play together. It's 2 players.
There might have been one for the DS. I can't remember.
Yeah, maybe because that's when they started doing the drawing and stuff on that.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely looking forward to play this. Mike has a Switch. Like, if we both had it, it's 2 players now. Who knows? Maybe we could drop a video about it. I don't know, but I'm excited about that. Wario looks good. Nintendo dropped a lot of stuff. Metroid, like Mike said, looks pretty good. As far as games go, Mario Golf, I'm very excited about. I cannot wait for that to come out. A lot of Nintendo games coming out, and they're coming out early. DLCs and other stuff. If we missed anything, guys, we have a Twitter. Hit us up on Twitter. Let us know your favorite games. Or, if you see us posting on social media at all through our things, shoot us a message. Tell us your favorite game. We'd love to have a conversation about it. We're going to close this topic out with one thing I saw, and me and Mike are going to dive into this for a little bit. In television. We had a little conversation about it before the podcast. Guys, I'm going to explain it to you the best I can visually. There is a docking station. It's kind of like a flat box.
Well, hold on. So to preface, for anyone who maybe didn't watch, again, it's called In Television, and it's a new household gaming console. All right, take it away.
Sorry, I got too excited, guys, but I'm coming back in now. So yeah, it's like has a docking station. It's flat on the table. It's not like big or wonky or anything. There's 2 remotes on it. It might put it best. They look like old school iPods pretty much, but they have a 360-degree like joystick kind of thing. They have a screen, a touch screen that's pretty much your A, B, Y, and X. And things will pop up on that